If you're looking for the best coverage for indie wrestling, listen to Aaron and Tom right here at the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show.
Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation. And I got tired of all these rumors and they hate. I feel my best when I'm worry-free. Mama, don't you worry, ain't nobody hurting me. Yeah, Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show. I'm Aaron. Joining me tonight, as always, is Tom. And tonight, very special guest. She's the Diamond Queen and your reigning and defending SOAR Women's Champion. It's Miss Evelyn Carter. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for having me tonight.
Absolutely. I'm very honest with our people, and I do this quite a bit. If something like this happens, this kind of take two for us. Great internet connection is always flawless in the great cornfields of Kentucky and Indiana. But we were going to talk to you about the COVID restrictions so far in pro wrestling and how that has affected you so far. So down in Texas, where you're at, and around SOAR wrestling, how has COVID affected you?
So far, it hasn't really affected myself and SOAR. We still have our monthly shows over at the Dallas Elks Lodge. The main thing that has occurred with this new Delta variant coming around is just a county judge mandated masks again whenever you're going into businesses or in buildings. And so we're getting that mask mandate back. But as far as wrestling and traveling to shows, it hasn't affected anything yet.
For myself, I feel real selfish because we went so long without shows over the last year. And now the ball's starting to roll back in a lot of places. You know, SummerSlam's this weekend. They're going to get 56,000 people there. AEW is now touring with people. A lot of independents are now starting to come back up. And I felt really bad for a lot of those independent promotions because they lost a lot of money when they were shut down. And I know the cases are starting to rise again. And like you're talking about, you've got governors putting mandates here and there. But I just need my wrestling. Can we just have wrestling, please?
Well, you have to think about what's good for the people. You have to put the people first. Yes, we do need wrestling. I personally feel like I need wrestling just to keep myself sane. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way too.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about with the cases rising and going and doing shows and being around all the people? Is that something that you really hope that the promotions you're working for have the utmost standards and protocols, or is it something that you really even worry about at all?
Wherever I travel to wrestle, albeit if I am actually wrestling or if I'm being a manager or just being in the building, everywhere I go, they always abide by what is legal and what should be done by the city, by whatever city limits that they're in. It does not bother me one bit. I will do what I have to do as just a human being to help this stop. And the companies that I wrestle for and I work with feel the same way. They're going to do the responsible thing. They're going to do what is right in order for all of us to just get past this.
Now, not only did COVID kind of drop kick you down a little bit this year, but you also have an injury, and that's kept you out for basically half of this year so far. But you're still going to shows and you're still being active in rows. But talk to us a little bit about your injury and what's the timetable for you to come back?
It's actually taken me out this whole year. I got injured the first week of February. I literally only wrestled one show this year, and then I got injured at practice. So I've been out for the whole year. And I am striving to come back by February of next year. That's kind of pushing it. My surgeons and my doctors are probably going to suggest that I wait it out for the full year for my bones to completely heal and everything from the surgery, because I don't know how familiar you are with ACL surgeries, but there are a couple of different ones you can do. And the one that I did is called bone-to-bone graft, and it's the most aggressive type. Most people can choose an ACL surgery and they can be back in 8 to 9 months or even like 6. But mine takes a solid year for the body to heal itself from the surgery.
I tore my MCL once, and it was a quick recovery. And anytime I hear ACL, it's usually involved with high impact sports, football, basketball, baseball. And yes, you're right. The timetable for that turnaround is, very long normally. But to be a pro wrestler, though, the chance of getting injured is a whole lot more frequent than I would believe than being a basketball player or a football player, just because of all the move sets and the way that you all carry your bodies. Is this something that worries you when you do come back?
It did at first. It did at first because I've honestly, I've never had an injury from sports ever. I played soccer for 11 years. I played tennis for, 8, 9, I think 10. Like, I have been an athlete since I was 5, and I've never gotten a major injury. This was my first major injury, got it from wrestling. And I knew going into this sport that was a risk. Like, I'm not stupid. And you really, that's the thing. You don't have to do anything crazy to get hurt. You really don't, because how I got hurt, it wasn't even that insane. It was just poor footing, landed wrong, and my leg didn't like it. Like, I wasn't doing like a 360 flip off the top rope or anything. I was literally jumping from the middle turnbuckle onto the ring. And that was it. My leg just gave out. It's just poor footing. There's no videotape to show what happened. My knee didn't buckle. And I didn't feel a pop at first. I didn't feel anything at first except just this god awful pain. And they'd only lasted 3 minutes. Like, everyone was ringside and they were freaking out because, like, I was in so much pain. And then, like, literally 3 minutes passed and I was like, I'm fine. No, I was not fine. 3 weeks later, I got an MRI, and then they're like, oh yeah, you ripped that thing right off the bone. And I'm just like, fantastic. Great. That's lovely. But it's, whenever I come back, yeah, I'm actually at a higher risk of it happening again. Not in my left leg, which is the one that I had the surgery on, but in my right leg. I have now a higher risk of it happening in the right leg, but I'm not going to be doing any more aerial or jumping things. I don't need to. I'm a very large woman. My feet are staying on the ground from now on, and I'm okay with that.
We mentioned that go ahead, Tom.
So the time that you've kind of been out, I know you're still being busy and still going to shows and things, but are you really thinking about your character work and your move set once you do get back, and really dialing that down into something that's a little bit different?
Oh, of course, it never stops. Every time I go to a practice, every time I go to a show and I see everything, and I play in my head like, ooh, this is going to be, ooh, if I do this move, ooh, that's going to be deadly. Ooh, yeah, I need to do that move next time when I come back. It's just all these things just come in my head because I will have to adjust some moves that I probably won't be able to do again. Like, I do have to fix that and adjust to that. And that's totally fine, because a lot of my moves are leg based as far as leg drops, pump kicks, knees. So it's a lot leg based. I'm going to have to make sure that I can still do those moves. I'm sure I can. But it wrestling hasn't turned off for me. I will not lie. There was a period right after when I realized that I needed surgery. That was actually a very terrible weekend. I was at a show in Memphis, Tennessee for Southern Extreme Wrestling. And I was literally 15 minutes from walking out with Dante Smiley when I got the call from my doctor. And they said, yeah, you tore your ACL, you strained your MCL, you tore your meniscus, you bruised your tibia and all this stuff. And I was just on the phone and I couldn't say anything. I was just like, wow, this is it. Like, this is the confirmation that I'm done for the year. Like, it was just February, March. And I'm just like, because if you guys don't know this already, I made my like made my wrestling debut in October of 2019. And then I didn't start wrestling regularly until January of 2020. Then literally 2 months later, didn't wrestle for months because of COVID. So I am not even 2 years in this, and I'm already out for a year. And so it was really hard. I got that call, cried a little bit. I called my mom and I said, Mom, I fucked up. And she was just like, oh, and we talked it out. And then I shook it off and went out and did what I had to do.
On the plus side of that, I've seen an interview with you where you mentioned SOAR wrestling, and they have stuck with you where a lot of promotions would strip a champion if they're going to be out for a lengthy amount of time. But SOAR is a company that has the faith in you and has kept the title on you. And you have been known to say that you want to see SOAR become the next big promotion, and you have no plans of leaving them.
Then that's still accurate to this day. That has not changed. Like, it's literally like you just said, any company would strip it, give it to the next person. But I see it right there on my bookshelf. Like, I still have it. Yeah, they've been incredibly supportive since I got hurt. They were incredibly supportive of me even before that. They saw something in me. They still see something in me, even though I'm pretty physically useless right now. They haven't stopped pushing me. They're not gonna stop pushing me. They're waiting for my comeback, big setback or a major comeback type thing. And I'm very grateful, so grateful. I can't even begin to explain just how amazing it is to be with a company like that. In the brief time that I've been involved in wrestling, I've seen the very ugly side of wrestling, and I've also seen the very beautiful side of wrestling. And right now I'm in that beautiful situation where I have a strong foundation, I have a strong team, I have a strong company that believe in me and that are giving me the time to heal. And I'm forever grateful for that. That's why if I ever meet anyone that's interested in wrestling, I point them to our school, which is Bumps and Bruises here in Carrollton. We've got a school in Arkansas as well. And I mean, this is the group you want to go in on. These are the people that you want to put your faith and your trust in, because they're going to turn around and they're going to give it back to you tenfold.
I think that's fantastic that they're going that direction. And I never understood some of even WWE at times, somebody will get in and then they're just off TV for months. And I'm like, you could still use them. They can't be physical. I get it. But, use them for their character work, keep the storyline going, whatever it is. There's so many opportunities that they can still have to entertain and to get the most out of it, but they seem to always do the same thing and just like, well, you got hurt, you're out. And so I think that's fantastic that there are companies out there that are really putting the investment into their people.
A lot of it too is it might not always be the company that's taking them out completely. It could totally be the athlete as well, because I can definitely see how it's very straining mentally to sit there and watch it happen and watch wrestling and watch all these progressions of everyone you've been working with side by side, and then you're stuck. It's very hard. It's you have to be very mentally strong to be able to sit there and not do anything and let your body heal and put all the hard work into physical therapy while the rest of your team and the rest of your family are elevating. So it can be very difficult for people to do that. So that could be why they just cut them entirely, or like put them on the back burners. Like, okay, you fix yourself, you'll come back. But then, like I said, I also agree with you. Like, people should definitely keep storylines up. But it's hard.
Now, prior to you getting into pro wrestling, what was your other dream job scenario that you would have wanted to go into as far as a career path?
I would say it would be personal training. which I am a personal trainer now. I took this time away from wrestling to become a personal trainer. There's no sleep. There's no sleep in this house. It's always some kind of hustle, some kind of work. um, so I'm just kind of living that dream right now, working on my personal training business and really investing my time, energy into that while I can.
Now, did you find your personal training difficult during your injury and during COVID, or did you find it more where you could do like web-based? We've had some guests on before who are personal trainers, and they did the whole web-based personal training. Is that something that you are also able to do?
Yeah, I do both. I do in-person and online personal training. But yes, starting off, because I took my certification test before my surgery mid-February, passed it on the first go. But then I told myself, okay, I can't really get any in-person clients right now because I know that I'm having surgery in like a month or two, and then I won't be able to do, because you can't walk. Like, you can't walk 2 weeks after surgery. You need crutches for 2 additional weeks. You need a boot for 3 more weeks. And so realistically, I just knew that I couldn't do that. And so I did push, and I still am pushing my online personal training really hard, because it's really convenient for a lot of people to do that too, as long as they're like aware of what they have to do, but they just need that extra guideline. And that's what I give them. I give them a guideline for that online training. And now that I am physically better, and now that I can move around and do all these things, now I am picking up in-person training as well here in Dallas.
Do you focus on the nutrition side of it as well?
I do. I feel it is very important for people to understand that what you put in your body is fuel. You don't have to like heavily restrict yourself to get the results you need and the results you want out of training. You just have to be smarter about it. You have to be intuitive about what you're putting into your body. And interesting enough, before my surgery, I was doing like one thing about me, I'm a huge nerd. I always have to do some kind of research, no matter what it is. If it's something I really like, I'm going to do a bunch of research on it. And so I was researching ways for my body to heal faster and stronger post-surgery. And that's when I discovered, and I started looking up the benefits of being vegan. And it's been very interesting from everything I've read. And so I completely cut meat cold turkey. Like I've been a vegan since February. Like, I literally read and watched documentaries and read those articles one day, and I was just like, you know what? It's worth a shot. I'm cutting it out. And I've been vegan ever since. It's incredible how my body has just changed just off that one little thing. And that's what it comes down to, is just knowledge and understanding what your body needs. And I love sharing that with clients, because it's easy for personal trainers to be like, yeah, I can help you lose 20 pounds. I can help you lose 10 pounds. But the real trick is keeping it off. And the real trick is like continuing to work outside of needing a personal trainer. And that's what my aspirations are as a trainer, is that you only need me for a certain amount of time. And then once the training wheels are off, you don't need me anymore. Because I know people that train with the same person for years, and it can be a preference. Like, sometimes maybe they just like working out with a guy, sure. But then I see other people that are training with these certified professionals, and they're still overweight, or they're even gaining weight and not the good kind. And it's just like, I'm not doing something right.
So what is your favorite vegan meal so far that you cook yourself?
Ooh, it's this sloppy Joe recipe that I've been obsessed with recently. It involves a concoction of like a bunch of different spices, chickpeas, mushrooms, carrots, and like barbecue sauce. And it just makes this delicious sloppy Joe. And I've been, like I said, I've been obsessed with it for the past 3 weeks. I eat it like every other day.
Now, have you tried the chicken wings made from cauliflower?
No, I have not.
It's actually really good. Of course, for me, if you put buffalo sauce on anything, I'm in. But
Right. Yeah.
you know, there's different recipes on how to do it, but it's 100% cauliflower. And when you cook it and bake it, and then put the buffalo sauce on it, it actually feels like you're eating chicken.
I bet. Yeah, people really don't think. People think that if you go vegan, that means you're just going to lose out on so much, when all it is just a bunch of creativity and new ways to try something you've always loved.
Yeah. One thing about pro wrestling right now is the evolution of women's wrestling. You've got promotions like Mission Pro and Flawless, and you've got AEW Dark featuring a lot of women talent. WWE NXT starting to feature more women talent. Do you feel a little bit cheated this past year as more women are starting to get their chance with your injury?
Not at all. That has more women having these amazing opportunities have absolutely nothing to do with my injury. People get hurt all the time. I mean, that's out of my control. That's out of anyone's control. It's not like someone pushed me off the turnbuckle and made me like bust my knee. Like, that's not, no. I have not had any resentment. I have not had any jealousy, nothing for these women. I have been so excited and so proud of everything that they've been doing. And I'm like, if anything, that's just making me more excited when I come back. And it's just like, wow, all these, instead of just one women's match, now there's like 2, 3, what, a whole show dedicated to women? Hell yeah. Like, I am not at all upset about what's going on right now. It's about time it happened. I'm very glad it did.
Yeah, when you look at a few years back, in the era of China, and even as far as Beth Phoenix and talent such as that, and to see where we're at now, I feel like women's wrestling has always done this. But now I feel like we're doing this. Do you feel that same way from the time that you first started watching pro wrestling?
I do. I definitely do. There are times where it would dip, and it's very unfortunate that it did. But all it really took is just like that 1 or 2 person to really bring it back up. And now, instead of just 1 or 2 ladies and women, you have multiple ladies, multiple women that are constantly giving it that evolutionary rise, and no more dips. And so I definitely agree with that.
So now, are you someone who tries to keep up with the different promotions and see what the ladies are doing and try to watch the matches and stuff, or do you kind of just stick to what you're focused on in your career and things?
I see what they're up to for solely for support. I've met a lot of incredible women in this industry so far, and I love seeing where they're going with their careers. Like Maddie Rankowski, she's in the wrestling game same amount of time as me. In the beginning of both of our wrestling careers, when we first really started wrestling, we wrestled each other quite often, and so it's really exciting and amazing to see that what she's doing on AEW Dark. Another talent is Danny B, Oklahoma City's own. I was her debut match at World Class Revolution, and so it's awesome to see that she is just taking Texas and Oklahoma by storm right now. Like, she's an incredible talent in Ring of Honor. And just, I could literally just go on with all these incredible women that I've met. Erica Torres, Skylar Slice, Miranda Gordy is a sweetheart. It doesn't stop.
Now, when you talk about SOAR wrestling, talk about a little bit about the women's division there. And what are your plans once you get back, and as far as the talent you're seeing coming through the pipeline through SOAR?
I actually cannot disclose what's going on there right now because I've got something cooking for the women's division. And so I can't say.
Shots fired, SOAR. She's got something planned. This is interesting.
It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be different. It'll be exciting. And I cannot wait to officially announce what I'm cooking up. I've been cooking this up in my mind for like the past 2 months. So, and it's about to be implemented. So I'm excited.
Wow. I'm about to tune in and figure that one out myself now. What is one thing in women's wrestling, though, in your opinion, that is missing right now?
I could be wrong, but this is just what I'm seeing, or what I should say, what I'm not seeing. It's just the lack of media attention, I guess. historically, I'm about to give you guys a little sociology lesson on women's sports. So historically, women have always been painted as a secondary character when it comes to sports. What I mean by that is, if you ever notice when people interview a woman, they'll always ask her, how do you balance being a mother and being an athlete? How do you balance your relationships? How do you deal with the drama? But then if you go to the same type of athlete, but it's a man, they ask, oh, what's your training like? How much effort do you have to put into this? Like, how excited are you for your career? With women in any sport, it typically veers to their feminine roles, as society likes to label them, as being mothers and caregivers first and athletes second. I'm seeing that change. It's getting a little better. I would like to see it happen more. And I'm not saying that wrestling does this. I'm not saying that wrestling focuses on the feminine and maternal and that of a woman, but they definitely, especially like previously, they definitely focused more so on their looks than their talent. They definitely pushed women who looked better versus women who were actually really talented, you know? And so I would definitely like to see that be more normalized and not so one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel you 100%. I feel like even from a storyline perspective, the women aren't given very good storylines except for I dislike you, you dislike me.
It's typically catty, right?
Right.
Or it's something to do with a relationship.
Yeah, give me some depth to a storyline and help build it, and let's keep it going. I need a feud like a Stone Cold Steve Austin Rock feud for years with some women. I need
Right.
that.
Well, you're getting that right now, honestly. Look at Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair.
We are.
Like that. I mean, that's great. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see that. And that's another reason why I love SOAR so much. The first thing I told these guys when I came in under their wing for training and to be pushed in their program and in their company was that I don't want people to look at me and say that's a great women's wrestler. I want people to look at me and just say that's a great wrestler. Like, don't categorize me specifically. Just give me the credit when it's due. I'm not an idiot. I know I still got a lot of work to do. I'm a fast learner, and I'm ready to put that work in when I come back, because I want to be known as like one of the great wrestlers from Texas. Like, I want to be up there, Stone Cold Steve Austin from Texas.
Stone Cold and Evelyn Carter. Well,
I know,
Evelyn,
that'd be great.
before we let you go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media and where they perhaps could see you next.
Well, they can see me at every SOAR show here in Dallas. Just pay attention to the social media, always posting those flyers and the shows that are going to come on. I've got, if you want to represent, I've got shirts on Pro Wrestling Tee. I got a new design out there recently. It's actually really cool and I love it. You can follow me on Instagram. It's _Evelyn_Carter. I'm on Twitter too, the Evelyn Carter. And again, Evelyn Carter on Facebook. If you want to follow my socials and see what I'm up to, because I keep I post and I'm posting about what I'm up to with the women's division on social media too. So if you're curious, you can like check that out and be like, oh, okay, what's she doing?
Awesome. Well, we wish you a very speedy recovery, and definitely looking forward to seeing you back in action very soon.
Thank you. It was awesome talking with you guys today.
Absolutely. For everyone out there, make sure you all hit the subscribe button. And again, appreciate everyone for a 1-year anniversary coming up this Friday. Make sure you head over to PWTs, pick up some Evelyn Carter merchandise. If it's down between our merchandise and Evelyn Carter, pick up Evelyn Carter merchandise. It's probably much cooler than ours anyway. And then also, if you have not yet, please pick up a copy of my book, Independent Road to Wrestler's Journey. Guys, we're continuously climbing back up the charts. If you're a lover of pro wrestling, especially independent pro wrestling, this is the book for you all. Telling life stories of some great people such as Effie, Alex Gracia, Billy Starks, Lufisto, Gino Rivera, and many more. Appreciate all the support as always. And for everyone out there, make sure y'all are staying safe as you all go to the shows, because we want wrestling to continue. We want life to continue. So make sure everyone's doing what they need to be doing. Stay safe, and we'll see y'all later in the week.